What's up, family? I don't know if you clicked into this video because you want to understand how the student loan system works, or if you're a little curious, maybe even a little nosy about what I've been through it myself. Either way, I'm glad you're here, because what I'm about to explain is a little bit more than just the hard numbers. And if we're being honest with each other, the system, it wasn't really designed for families like mine, and most likely families like yours too. And it definitely wasn't built for families that's fighting through generational curses. It was actually built on top of them. That was me, a first generational college student. No blueprint, no mentor, or no map on how to navigate this journey. Just a lot of hope and an even bigger list of unanswered questions. I remember getting that acceptance letter from my dream school. I was hyped, and just like any other high school student that's ready to go to college. But then the tuition bill came, $40,000 a year. I literally zoomed into my laptop, hoping that they accidentally added an extra zero. But nope, that number was real. I was only 18 years old, fresh out of high school, and my GPA was struggling. I even had to go through 2 rounds of summer school. I had no credit history and no classes that taught me how this game works. So I did the only thing I knew to do. I prayed every single day. From the minute I opened the first tuition bill from the first day of class. Eventually, after weeks of stress, anxiety, and sleepless nights, I found a family member who decided to co-sign with me for a $30,000 private loan, and the remaining $10,000 came from federal loans. In that moment, it felt like a win. But looking back, I don't know if it really was. Congratulations, you've been approved. But for a second, I sat there and stared at the screen thinking, wait, is this really a celebration? Or is this a system who preys on young 18-year-olds who don't even understand the weight of what they just signed? Now multiply that moment by 3 more years of school. And that right there, that's how they get you. What made it even harder was watching the kids down my hallway partying every single weekend, along with smoking, drinking, and relaxing, while I was working a full-time job just to stay afloat. So now, the real question is, do I regret it? That's what this video is all about. Because if you're already in the system or thinking about getting in the system, you need to really understand how it works. This is how they profit from your confusion. And what I wish someone told me before I signed my first loan. Before we get into it, go ahead and smack that like button. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well, because we're about to get deep. Let's get into it. What are student loan servicers? First off, let's get something straight. Student loan servicers are not the people that's giving you the money. They're the middlemen. They're companies hired to handle your money right after it's been sent out. They're the ones who send the bills, collect the payments, and help you manage the repayment plans. But here's the thing. They're not really here to help you. Their job isn't to walk you towards freedom. Their role is to keep your loan in good standing, on paper. And even then, whether you're making real progress or not. And a lot of them use emotional tactics to keep you in check. We're about to dive into those in just a second. Private loans are even worse. Now, when we talk about private loans, it gets even darker. Here's something you probably didn't know. Say that you graduate college and you request the forbearance on your loan. The company can legally run a hard credit check just to discourage you from going through with it. Yeah, that happened to me. I was in a rough patch. Unexpected expenses, rent was coming due. It was tough. So I called the servicer asking for a forbearance. The woman on the line picked up. She was kind at first. Hi Josh, this is Miss Ruby. Can you tell me about why you're requesting a forbearance? I started explaining. Well, I'm going through a financial hardship. She cut me off, real sharp. What's going on? I paused, caught off guard. It's just a financial hardship. I'd rather not go into detail, I replied. And like a switch, her voice changed, cold and robotic. And just letting y'all know, you do not have to go into personal information or details. That's none of their business. And then she continued. Josh will need to do a hard credit pull. I asked, why? What does this have to do with my credit? She replied, we need to see if you're missing payments on other bills too. I physically cringed and said, wouldn't that mean that I'm actually struggling? That's literally the reason that I'm calling for help. She didn't have an answer. Later that night, I looked through the agreement. There it was, page 27, buried in fine print. And at that point, I noticed they really don't give a crap about us. And it also hit me. The system wasn't built to help us out. It was built to keep you defensive. The business model behind servicing loans. So now you might be thinking, how do these companies make money? Clearly not by helping people get debt free, and definitely not making sure people qualify for forgiveness. They're paid by volume. The more accounts they manage, the more they get paid. And the longer the loan stays active, the more they're cashing that check. They even get bonuses for loans that don't default. And that's why they use the emotional tactics, even if you aren't making real progress. Federal versus private loans, the hidden game. Now let's break down the difference between the two. Federal loans are backed by the government. They come with built-in protections such as income-driven repayment plans, deferment, and programs like public service loan forgiveness. But most borrowers don't know that these options exist. Why is that? Because the servicers don't take time to explain it. I'm sure that there's some regulation that forces them to keep options available, like the Fair Lending Act. In fact, some borrowers may even have actively been steered away from these programs on purpose. And this could save them thousands of dollars over time. Now with private loans, they really don't give a crap. They're even more predatory. No forgiveness, no safety net, no flexibility. And if you lose your job or get sick, tough luck. And some private lenders have so-called co-signing traps, where they harass your parents or family members if you default on the loan. And the interest rates, they're higher than traditional car loans, even in this current rate environment. How they profit from your struggle. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. When you struggle, they win. These servicers have been accused of all types of shady practices, delaying forgiveness paperwork, giving borrowers wrong info, pushing forbearance to let interest stack up, providing poor customer service so that you miss deadlines. And when you default, your loan is sold off to collections. And then another company profits off your pain. There's other financial companies that are predatory. And in this video right here, I go into the details. Real scandals, real money. Navient, the student loan giant, was sued by multiple states for deception. They allegedly steered people in more expensive options when they had cheaper ones available. Audits found that they were giving the wrong information to borrowers when they were only trying to qualify for the public service loan forgiveness program. And these are people who spent years dedicating their whole life working in nonprofits. And then they were told they didn't qualify, and they did everything right. That wasn't an accident. That was the business model. Imagine your first week on the job, and that's in the training manual. The system is designed to confuse. The federal government hires these companies, but oversight, almost non-existent. These servicers spend millions lobbying Congress so they can keep operating without strict rules. And unlike a normal service, you can't switch providers. If your servicer is failing you, you can't switch companies unless the government decides to do so. Who really benefits? Here's who's winning in this setup. Loan servicer executives that are making 6 to 7 figure salaries. Government contractors pulling in massive contracts. Private lenders getting rich off defaults. And colleges charging more while students carry the debt. At the end of the day, you're the product. And the longer you stay in debt, the more valuable you are to them. This just makes me so angry and furious because they prey on vulnerable people who are just trying to make it in this world. What can you do? Just because the system is rigged does not mean that you're powerless. Here's how to fight back. Go to either your federal or private loan company's website and figure out what programs you qualify for. And if it's a federal servicer, then see if you qualify for income-driven repayment plans. Use the loan simulator to try to calculate your future payments. File complaints with the CFPB if your servicer is shady. And if you have private loans, shop around for refinancing. And if you're on a payment plan right now, consider deferring your payments temporarily. And you would use that time to build something on your own. A side hustle, a small business, or a long-term move that gives you ownership. Even if the money doesn't come right away, at least you're building something that could pay you back eventually. Because think about reallocating that money that you would put towards that plan and put it towards your business. They fight you, so fight back. And I just gave you the ammo. Here's the key takeaway. So, do I regret taking out student loans? The straight answer, no. But I do regret not having a mentor who could guide me through all this. Because these companies are not for you. If we really want to change, it's going to take pressure and transparency, and a whole lot more financial literacy, just by understanding the game. But play it better, and then fight for a system that doesn't prey on the kid that's coming up right after you. If this video has helped you cut through the noise, then do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. And also, share it with 2 friends that are still trapped in the system. But take care, and I'll see you in the next one.